I really didn't want to make a video about this. I really wanted to give this one a second chance, but I couldn't. I couldn't give it another chance, and I will probably never give it another chance. And probably after this review, you guys might take this as me bitching about it, or most of you will probably say, get good at the game. But you know what? No matter how hard I try to get good at this game, there's no way in hell I'm going to get good at this game. So, being that this is going to be my first ever review based off of a game that I really wanted to be good, this is my review and my thoughts on Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Let the pain begin. Now let me start out by saying, like most gamers, I will pretty much be the first one to try and pre-order a game when it comes out, especially when the game pretty much looks like it holds a lot of promise. Like, we all have done the same when it comes to Destiny, we've all done the same when it comes to God of War, we've all done the same like when it came to fucking Spider-Man. But here's the thing, when it comes to us pretty much looking forward to a game, we also pretty much have that hope that the game is going to be good. We have that hope that the game is everything that they promised it to be. We have that hope that the game turns out to be a fucking masterpiece. And guess what? God of War turned out to be a masterpiece. Spider-Man turned out to be a masterpiece. Destiny, well, let me go ahead and pretty much say they did the exact same thing as they did with the first game, and I'm still kind of pissed off about that, because now you expect me to pay $40 for a damn DLC. But I'm getting off topic here. There was a game that came out in early 2018 that I was excited for. Not only was I excited for this game because of the fact that it is one of the many games, a spin-off in fact, of my favorite JRPG series, and not only that, the greatest JRPG series of all time. Well, at least in my opinion. I don't know if you guys actually feel the same way. I don't know. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. But it's based off of a slew of spin-off games where they actually took the series and did something new and inventive with it, giving us a fighting game type of hybrid where you get to play as your favorite characters, giving us the same kind of experience that we would have gotten if it was a JRPG, and making the games not only great but making them memorable, not just with the characters but with the story, with the character development, with the different stages, with the different fighting styles. It was so freaking good. And of course, the game I'm talking about in question is the original Dissidia Final Fantasy series. Now let me go ahead and pretty much say that I'm disappointed at the fact that this game was pretty much released on the PSP when it was, because, you know, the PSP really didn't last that long, and, you know, a slew of really good games pretty much got lost to the sands of time and everything. Well, except Final Fantasy Crisis Core. But, you know, that was PSP exclusive, unless you pretty much emulated it on your computer and whatnot. I don't freaking know. But anyway, Dissidia was pretty much the best game to ever play. And like most fighting games, this is a game that pretty much requires skill. And you want to know something? This game was actually damn fun. I actually had fun playing this game, and even though I didn't really have anyone else to play with me, probably because of the fact that nobody I knew had a PSP with them, or at least they did, they pretty much left it at home while I was pretty much that one kid that brought it to school with them and pretty much played during lunchtime and whatnot. Dissidia Final Fantasy became one of my most favorite fighting games of all time, especially the fact that this was one of the first ever games that I got for the PSP, and holy jeez, this game kicked so much ass. Now, in my own defense, I never really played the first Dissidia. I actually played Dissidia Duodecim, but let me go ahead and tell you, these games were the fucking best, even though I only played, like, you know, the second one and everything. But anyway, the games are really, really fun and easy to understand and everything. So, of course, when it was announced by Square Enix that we were going to get a new game that's going to be a Dissidia title, we all were pretty much hitting the freaking roof. A new Dissidia game? We were so excited for it. We were hyped, man. The hype was freaking real. There was like a lot of people that bought like the $100 edition and online. But anyway, Everybody is pretty much hyped for this game, and because of the fact that it's a new Dissidia title, especially the fact that it was developed by Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, the same people who were behind the Dead or Alive series. Holy shit! Not only were we getting a new Dissidia title, but it was made by the developers that actually made a series of great games. Oh my god, this is gonna be great. So like everybody else, I was pretty much pre-ordering this thing like every week as best as I freaking could, and then the next thing you know, I walk in there, I got the Steelbook edition, I was excited, I was hyped, I took it home, and oh god. How do I put this? How do I put this in the nicest way I can? Dissidia Final Fantasy was the biggest kick to my right ball sack ever since I pretty much played a more disappointing game, which was Amazing Spider-Man 2. This game was literally the most disappointing game I've ever freaking played. Now, I'm not saying that it's the worst game I've ever played. No. I'm saying it was a disappointment that was a literal kick to my fucking ball sack, because oh my god, Koei Tecmo, Team Ninja, Square Enix, I don't know who the hell to blame for this. What the f did you do to my Dissidia? Okay, I'm sorry, I had to get all that out. But anyway, it's safe to say that this is not the Dissidia Final Fantasy game that we were promised, and this is definitely not the Dissidia Final Fantasy that we were waiting for or we thought that it was going to be. It's definitely nothing like the Dissidia that we played like years back or anything, and it definitely didn't really bring anything, you know, good to the table. But before I pretty much bash this game all to hell and everything, let's go ahead and pretty much talk about some good things about Dissidia Final Fantasy. Okay, let's see. Okay, the first good thing about it is that the gameplay is similar to the predecessor titles. And the reason why I pretty much said that is that the game plays just about the same as the original games. Like, you get to control your character, you get to block, you get to do all this and everything, and it still has the breakpoint system and everything. And if you don't know how the breakpoint system is, the breakpoint system is pretty much all your bravery points is what you need in order to do some real damage. If you build up your bravery point system, and if you wind up pretty much using like your bravery attacks and everything, you actually build up your bravery point system, and the higher you get it, the more damage you'll be able to do. You can only pull off a damage or in this case the game calls it the HP damage. The only way for you to pull off the HP damage is that you have to hit the HP damage button, which is pretty much the square button, and while you're using the circle button as your bravery damage button. Now the HP damage will pretty much take off your opponent's health depending on how much bravery points that you pretty much have. So, okay, that's pretty much easy to understand and everything like that. So the game pretty much does that, especially the fact that if you have enough bravery points, or like way too much bravery points to where you can pretty much end the opponent in one massive hit, it pretty much colors it. It pretty much shines purple, and then next thing you know, you pretty much wind up doing an HP attack. Boom! That guy is gone. His HP is gone, and guess what? For the enemy team, they lose 1 point. So this whole match is a 3v3 fighting game where it's depending on points. So the whole point of the game is that you have to pretty much take down your opponent before they take you down, and try to keep as many bravery points as you possibly can before they wind up killing you and your entire team 3 times in a row. And once they do that, it's game over and they won the match, or you won the match, whichever, it doesn't matter. So it's similar to the predecessor games, but with this new mechanic, it pretty much brings something new to the table, which actually is pretty damn good. I actually like the fact that they actually put this into the game. It pretty much uses teamwork and cooperation in order to take down the enemy team. Like whenever one of your teammates gets ambushed and everything, and you know you want to go and back them up, you pretty much knock out the enemy team and like, bitch, get out of here, this is my ball court. You know what I'm saying? It pretty much has that. So you can pretty much protect your teammates. You can pretty much switch between different opponents and pretty much see whose ass you kick into tonight. It's pretty interesting. It's not something that I was used to when I first played the game, but it doesn't really hurt the game all that much. It doesn't, and really. And the second good thing about the game is that the controls are pretty much simple. Like I just said, you pretty much use one button to use your bravery attack, and you use the other one for HP. And of course, the dodge and the block button is pretty much the same thing. Only the only time you can actually block is when you're standing perfectly still. I don't know why. And the dodge button is pretty much the same button if you're pretty much moving. And of course, the game comes with the dash button so that your character would dash in any given area. Like if you want to go in and pretty much whoop some ass, then you could pretty much use the dash button for that. Or if you pretty much want to keep it safe and run on the ground, then you can run on the ground and do all that. So basically, there's not a lot of different buttons, and it's not really all that hard to understand and everything, so it's pretty much kept simple to where the gameplay is pretty much fun and easier to understand for newer players and everything, like the players that never really played a Dissidia game before. So this is pretty much perfect for them. So it's simple, not a lot of problems. I got nothing else to say about it. The controls are fine. The controls are just fine. Alright, so it includes a slightly bigger roster, so as you guys probably already noticed, it pretty much has a bigger roster of characters. Like, there's the poster board for Final Fantasy himself, Cloud, and then there's Sephiroth, and then there's other characters that have been added to the mix. Hell, they even put fucking Noctis in the game from Final Fantasy 15, and how he got into the game? Well, he was pretty much on a journey with his friends, and then all of a sudden, he's just here. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no big purpose or anything. He's just freaking here. And then there's a DLC that pretty much lets you play as other characters and new characters from like other Final Fantasy games. Like for example, you get to play as Vayne from Final Fantasy 12, and then you also get to play as Locke Cole from Final Fantasy 4, and then you get to play as Rinoa from Final Fantasy 8. Like Yistola, Yistola, am I saying her name right? From the Final Fantasy online games and everything. So that's pretty cool. And why? Right? That's cool, right? Right? Is that cool? I don't know. I don't know. The point is that the roster is pretty much big enough for enough characters, and it pretty much has everything for everybody. So if you're not good with one character, like for instance, I suck with Kane Highwinds, then you could also pick another character like Firion, which I pretty much kick so much ass with him. Like, god damn, I be whooping ass, boy. Whooping ass. Sorry about that. Anyway, the final good thing that this game pretty much has is the customization. Now, the customization doesn't really have much. It's more like you changing outfits for your characters or changing a different weapon for them. You know, it's kind of like the same as every other Final Fantasy game where you pretty much like get to change their equipment and it pretty much change their outward appearance sometimes. Or if you pretty much give them a different weapon that's more powerful than their signature weapon, then they'll pretty much use that and it's different and everything. But other than that, it's nice to see that they pretty much give you customization that pretty much takes a throwback to the original Final Fantasy days. Like, there are times when you could pretty much see Tidus and what he's wearing now for the Dissidia game, but other times he could be wearing his original Final Fantasy X gear and everything like that. Or if you've seen Kane with his original Final Fantasy gear in the game, or you could just see him wearing a blue angelic boy band type of thing. I don't know. Or with Firion, you could pretty much have him play as his original design, or you could pretty much have him play as a badass bandit with a long strand of hair and kicking so much goddamn ass. And that's my favorite customization for him, by the way. But anyway, there's always a different customization for everybody. And even though that you have to play the game and grind a little bit in order to pretty much earn some gil, which is the original currency for Final Fantasy and like any of the worlds and everything, you could pretty much buy these things easily if you pretty much get better at the game and pretty much, you know, win a couple of matches and win like a whole lot more gil. So it's not really all that it's not really all that big of a deal, and it's pretty much something that you would expect from a Final Fantasy game. So customization's great, and the way to obtain them is pretty much, you know, standard. Okay, now let's get on to the bad stuff. First off, the story. I have never gave more less of a shit for a story in any Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 13. Like, what the actual is this story? Alright, so let me go ahead and pretty much explain. In the original Dissidia story, there was two different gods, which was Cosmo, and then there was Chaos, who is voiced by Keith David, by the way. So these two gods are pretty much warring over who gets to control the entire world. So each different god pretty much summons their champions to pretty much fight for them and to pretty much determine the fate of the world and who gets to rule over it and everything. The light or the darkness and everything. So Cosmos, of course, she pretty much picks the warriors from each different Final Fantasy game, which are the heroes, the protagonists, the people that you pretty much play throughout their adventures and so on and so forth. And Chaos pretty much chooses the bad crowd, you know, like the villains to the good guys. You know what I'm saying? And Kefka's there too, and the reason why I excluded him out is because he's freaking insane, and you know, that guy scares me more than Pennywise. I freaking hate clowns. Anyway, getting back to the story. Okay, so the story here is that there's like, I don't even know what the hell to call them, like descendants or reincarnations? Okay, basically there are two different gods that are pretty much like Chaos and Cosmos, and honestly, compared to the other two, these two are not all that interesting. They sound more like brother and sister arguing over who gets what, and it just doesn't seem all that interesting, and it's not all that empowering. Like, for instance, the new chick, she pretty much has that feeling of uncertainty. Like, she doesn't even know what the hell is going on or what the hell they're even fighting for. And it pretty much makes me wonder, if you don't even know what the hell you're fighting for, then how do you expect everybody else to fight for you? Like, what is the point of us being here? Like, lady, what? And then the other guy is pretty much like, well, I gotta take over this just because of this, that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, basically, these characters are so uninteresting, and they take me out of the story to the point where I just don't give a crap. As a matter of fact, including the story really has no purpose. Like, these characters are just going their separate ways, trying to find a way to get back home, or there are some that are pretty much fighting under the new chick, or there are some that just do random shit. Like, there's nothing going on. The story has nothing to offer, and it pretty much has no bearing to the game. Like, you could literally pretty much like take out the story altogether, take out the story mode, and then you just play the game like normal, like it's pretty much meant to be played. It's just an online game where you get to play as your favorite Final Fantasy characters and just beat the ever-living shit out of the enemy team. That's all you're mostly going to be doing throughout the entire game. Hell, that's what I've been mostly doing throughout the entire game. What's the story again? I really don't know. I lost interest in the story just like that. I didn't even care. There was literally nothing for me to care about in this entire damn story. The characters are basically the same as they always been, except for these two. These two are just bland as all hell, and I don't even know. Alright, and let's get on to the next bad thing about the game that I can't stand, is that, God, it really drives me up the fucking wall just thinking about it. Okay, so basically, the only way for you to unlock the story is that you have to do some grinding. And what do I mean by grinding? Well, that means that you have to go into an online match, play the online match, and depending on if you win or lose, try to accumulate enough crystals where you can pretty much unlock different chapters in the story. And depending on how many crystals you have, you need to go back, fight in the online matches, use the crystals that you won in that match, go back, unlock the story, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and motherfucking repeat. There is literally nothing more irritating than making your players work hard to get the damn story. if there's anything, there are games where you can pretty much like go on a long journey, like an open world game, in order to pretty much do some side missions to get a more understanding of either the lore of the world or get a more understanding of what type of character that you want to be and pretty much develop your character and everything. That's one thing if it's pretty much trying to make you work for the story. This literally makes you go online and grind your ass off just so you can get some stupid crystal, just so you can unlock the chapter in the goddamn story. And surprise, surprise, whatever you unlock could be a cutscene, or it could be like a 3v3 fight against other characters, and it's just, what? Why not just have the story? Like, literally, the original Dissidia pretty much had a story mode where you just play the damn story. There's no bullshit about getting a crystal to try to unlock the chapters. There's no bullshit about grinding. You just play the game and try to understand the stories, and while you're doing that, you're trying to connect with the characters. And that's what I love about the original Dissidia. I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy going into it. The only thing that pretty much introduced me to Final Fantasy was Kingdom Hearts. I didn't know anything about Final Fantasy 1 through 6 and also 8 through 13. But after playing Final Fantasy, the Dissidia series, I actually got more of a feeling for these characters. I actually got to know these characters. Like, for example, Tidus has daddy issues. Hell, you even start to learn more about the villains more than any damn thing. Like, for instance, Sephiroth pretty much is evil because of the fact that he's been cheated and lied to from the company that pretty much made him in the first place. Kefka pretty much thinks that there's no point in the world, that insanity is all that freaking goddamn matters. And oh my god. The third thing that pisses me off about this game is that there's no two-player mode when you go into versus mode. No two-player mode at all. You can look throughout versus mode as much as you want. There is no option to pretty much play with a friend in a two-player setting. And to make sure I wasn't going crazy, I actually looked on the back of the box, and it pretty much says that only a 2-player to 6-player mode in network play. But if you're going to be playing the game offline, it's only 1 player. And I get that they're trying to be like the original game where you don't have to play with another player and all you can do is just play against the AI and try to level up your characters and get them as strong as you can possibly get them and everything. But come on! Why take away the 2-player mode when that's literally one of the many things that made Dissidia fun in the first place? Leveling up your characters to be at a high enough level just so you could go head to head with your buddy who probably made it to level 80 while you were at level 70 when you got your ass handed to him. But now here you are with your level 99 Furion and his level 99 Onion Knight, and y'all can just go at it, man. How awesome would that be in a new age Dissidia game? But sadly, we don't fucking have that. We just have 2 different modes, 3v3, and you're just going against the AI. Now, whether this is for leveling up your character or pretty much you gaining some experience, I don't know. The minute I found out that this doesn't even have a 2-player mode and it pretty much ruined every chance it gets to pretty much have people buy their shit, I was this close to snapping my controller in two. But thank God that I pretty much love my shit because oh god, that would have been like an embarrassing $60 for me to pay for a new controller. Which pretty much leads me to my next point, which is the entire game is nothing more but a 3v3 fighting game. There is no inclusion of single battle and there's no inclusion of double battle. Just 3 people versus 3 people. That's it. Hell, even in the versus mode, it was nothing but 3 people versus 3 AI characters. And I shouldn't even say people because it's just you and your character with 2 other characters you pick from the damn roster versus like the enemy AI. There's literally nothing about this game that pretty much makes it more innovative. How cool would it be if it was like a 1v1? Like, if you pretty much like use Cloud to go up against Squall, and it's like the Final Fantasy fight that we've been waiting for, you wanted to make that a reality, and you wanted to set the computer to like the hardest difficulty to show your skills. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be great? I may be rambling at this point, but come on, man. Nobody wants to play a game where it's just you playing a team of 3 against another team of 3 and having the game be just that. That type of shit gets really boring really quickly, and even without a 2-player mode, it just makes you want to turn the game off and never play it again. And I literally didn't. Like, I played this game like back in February, and I never touched it since. Never touched it since. That should tell you something. That should tell you the level of disappointment I had for a Dissidia game. And while we're on the subject of characters, that leads me to another point, which makes me tear my hair out, but I don't have any hair at the moment because I literally got a haircut. This leads me to my next point. Some of the characters are too OP. And I know you hear this complaint dozens of times in different fighting games, whether it be Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, Tekken, goddamn Virtua Fighter, I don't know, Mortal Kombat. You probably hear this complaint from everybody who probably pick up a controller and got their asses handed to them, either because the person that they were fighting against was pretty much like spamming the button 100 times, or they were actually skilled players and they actually played the game longer than you have, and you just pretty much sat there and took it. But let me go ahead and tell you that most of these characters are freaking OP. I will literally sit there and tell you straight to your face that these characters are OP. Like, for example, if you play as Cloud, Cloud would come in with some quick-ass strikes, and then next thing you know, when he hits you with a devastating attack, it kills you instantly. Same thing with Sephiroth. Hell, I'll even go as far as to say if you're gotten good with Furion, like I have, you could pretty much spam the same attack until, like, your bravery points are, like, off the charts. And then hit them with the HP attack, and then boom! Done! Hell, you stole whatever the her name is. She pretty much uses a magical spell which pretty much drains you of your bravery points but builds up her bravery points, and then you come to find out, holy shit, that's an HP move, and then boom, you're dead, your team's last point is gone, you're screwed, the match is fucking over. Doesn't that sound fun? That you went up against a character that pretty much used her HP attack, and not only did it drain you of your bravery points, not even giving you a chance to defend yourself, but you wind up flat out dead, and your team just lost that match. And it wasn't just you, it was also the other guy who got hit, and guess what? He lost his bravery points too, and he winded up dead. So basically, you had 2 points left, and you lost the last 2 in like 5 seconds. And then the match ends in 40 seconds. 40 seconds. I wish I would tell you that I'm making this up and I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not. This shit literally happened when I went back to play this game to see if I can pretty much, you know, pull back my punches and pretty much, you know, give the game another chance. But nope, that shit literally happened 30 minutes ago before I actually started this recording. I am not kidding. This shit literally happened as soon as I started up the game. God damn. If that wasn't bad enough, let's go ahead to the next and probably the only bad thing that pretty much killed it for me. And that's the targeting system. The targeting system is probably the worst thing that came out of this game. I am not even joking. The targeting system is literally the worst damn thing I ever had to work with in the game. Obviously, it's a 3v3 fighting game, like I've said 100 times during this review. So basically, you're trying to concentrate on one guy, but then you have to keep your attention on 2 other characters that you are fighting, because you'll never know if they're going to come after you while you're trying to fight somebody else. So you're trying to keep your attention wherever you need to keep your attention. But the worst thing about the targeting system is that if you pretty much move it, you'll wind up locking onto somebody that you weren't trying to lock on in the first place, while the other guy is pretty much pummeling you with so many attacks that you can't even break out of it. And then once you pretty much do get your targeting system on them, boom, you're dead. game over. Like, what the actual hell? Like, you would think that they would pretty much try to fix the targeting system, or at least in this case, fix their damn game, because there are half of the time when I would try to pretty much fix my targeting system and the game would just glitch out, like glitch in and out and shit, and then next thing you know, I'm sitting here like, what the what? I am dead serious. This targeting system drives me more insane than anything else in the game. I could get my ass kicked 1,000 times in this game, but the targeting system is a bitch and a half. I am dead freaking serious. I hate the targeting system. I really do. But it's not bad enough to where it ruins the game. The rest of the bad things I listed pretty much ruin this game enough as it is. Ruin this game to the point where I can't even give it a great score. And with that in mind, Dissidia Final Fantasy gets my final score of a 6 out of 10, which on the Crazy Kent rating scale means that it's just okay. The game is fun as it is, and Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja actually went as far as to try to give us something familiar with the Dissidia series, but it just falls so short. Like, it's so much evidence that it's nothing like the original predecessors. Like, for real, making your players play the game in an online fighting game just so they can earn crystals to unlock the story, instead of just putting the story in there, or in this case, taking the story completely out just so we can enjoy the game, is almost as bad as pretty much having the match end in like 30 seconds from using OP characters. I know that they tried so hard to pretty much give us a familiar fighting game that we all love and wanted for the longest time, or at least wanted a re-release on the PlayStation 4. Come on, Square Enix, can you just give us a re-release of the original Dissidia games for the PS4? Or hell, I know you're making a PS5 coming out, so can you please put it on that, please? Please? I am begging you right now, just give us that, just give us that, come on. Oh god, I want to give Dissidia Final Fantasy NT another chance. I really do, guys. I do. But it's just a bastardized version of the original 2 games. And as much as I really want to love it, I have no choice but to freaking hate the decisions they went for it, man. Like, it's not a bad game. It's not a terrible game. But at the same time, it's not a great game either. It's okay, it's passable, but it's not enough for you to pretty much go back and play and have fun with it. And that's what pisses me off. If anything, Final Fantasy keeps us going back, well, except Final Fantasy 13. It keeps us going back because of the fact that we love the story, we love the characters, we love the different worlds and the similarities that these games have in common. But this one, I gotta be honest, guys. I think it's best that if you pretty much like play it once and then just tell, just give your own opinion. What do you think about it? But in my opinion, I don't even think that this game is worth buying for $60. I don't even think it's worth buying for at least like $30. So you're probably asking, is there any good that came out of this? There is, actually. Johnny Young Bosch as motherfucking Furion.
It seems our worries were unfounded.
God, I love that voice.